Welcome back to our channel. Today the 2026 Chevy Impala SS 454 arrives in conversation, first as a promise and then as a thrum, a deep, retro-minded rumble that hints at the return of big-body American muscle with modern polish. For viewers who grew up on the Impala's long hood and plush bench seats, and for a younger generation that loves torque for the sake of spectacle, this car, part revival, part reinterpretation, is built to bridge generations. It wears classic cues, a broad, planted stance, generous proportions and the emotional shorthand of an aggressive grille and quad exhausts. But it also wears today's language, tight LED signatures, tucked aero elements, and an interior that looks more cockpit than living room. The result reads like a muscle car that learned how to use a smartphone without losing its soul. Under the sheet metal is where the 454, badge does real work as a storytelling device. The name evokes Chevrolet's storied big block history, and the 2026 rumor mill has matched the nostalgia with substance. Previews and reports point to a 6.2-liter V8 at the heart of the lineup, with outputs that vary by source but cluster around the high-performance end of the spectrum. Some outlets estimate a base neighborhood of roughly 500 horsepower, with hotter trims flirting with 550 horsepower and beyond. More extreme, enthusiast-created builds and concept claims push into supercharged territory, where 700-plus HP becomes a talking point. Whatever the final spec sheet reads, the intent is clear. This Impala is tuned to deliver long-legged torque and big car shove, the kind that makes highway merges feel like a decision to assert dominance. Because much of this information comes from manufacturer teasers, trade reporting and renderings, enthusiasts should read the numbers as credible rumor balanced with healthy skepticism until Chevrolet's official release. Driving dynamics for the Impala SS 454 are said to be an exercise in compromise done well. The car is large, but modern chassis engineering, adaptive damping, multi-link rear suspension and selectable drive modes, aims to keep body control taut without turning the cabin into a teeth-rattling affair. Reports and first impressions from early video reviews suggest a setup that favors composed highway cruising at legal speeds and then rewards the right foot with muscular acceleration when the road opens. If Chevrolet follows the current muscle formula, expect a 10-speed automatic as standard, with the possibility of a manual option for purists on limited runs. Braking and steering will be sized appropriately, big rotors and 4-piston calipers on higher trims, with electronically assisted steering that gives the car composure without deadening the mechanical feedback entirely. For a big sedan, the goal appears to be a refined kind of menace, relaxed when you want it to be, explosive when provoked. Inside, the Impala SS 454 wants to be more than a throwback. Renderings and early write-ups show a cabin that balances retro accents, subtle metal trim, SS badging, and optional two-tone leather, with contemporary tech, wide digital displays, over-the-air software updates, premium audio, and a driver assistance suite that includes the expected lane keep, adaptive cruise and collision mitigation systems. This is a muscle car for modern life, comfortable for long family trips, usable as a daily driver, and indulgent enough to serve as a weekend toy. The seats look supportive but not radical, prioritizing long-distance comfort. Materials choices aim to let the occupant know they're in something special without going full luxury salon. That interior approach helps the Impala SS 454 avoid the trap of being a mere performance badge on a commoditized cabin. Fuel economy will not be the headline here, and Chevrolet seems to accept that. Estimates in public reporting and speculation put real-world averages in a range acceptable for large V8 sedans. Expect the city numbers to be modest and the highway economy to shine a little better thanks to overdrive gearing and cylinder deactivation tech where implemented. For many buyers, the trade-off, a bit more frequent stops at the pump in exchange for long, satisfying straight-line performance and a soundtrack that recalls an earlier, louder era, will be a deliberate choice rather than an inconvenient surprise. For others, Chevrolet will almost certainly offer options and packages that prioritize efficiency or luxury over raw output. Price and positioning are where the Impala SS 454's story gets interesting. It's not trying to be the cheapest sedan on the lot, nor does it want to sit at hyper-exotic sports car pricing. Reporters and spec pages have suggested that the car will be marketed as a premium muscle sedan, elevated above commuter sedans by its powertrain and appointments but below boutique supercars, and that pricing will reflect that middle ground. Early estimates vary widely depending on trim and options, a starting point that feels attainable for an enthusiast who wants a daily drive muscle car, and upper trims that move toward luxury performance territory for buyers who want every option and the most powerful engine available. In short, Chevrolet appears to be aiming for a sweet spot where emotional appeal and everyday usability intersect. Critically, the 2026 Impala SS 454 story also lives in its cultural significance. Revivals are delicate, too faithful and they feel museum piece, too loose and they offend a legacy. From the images and early drives circulating online, Chevrolet and the design community seem to understand that the Impala's essence is less about exact replication and more about attitude, big presence, unapologetic performance, and an approachable kind of swagger. Whether it becomes a mainstream success or a cult favorite for those who remember the original glory days, the Impala SS 454 has already succeeded in one way. It restarted a conversation about large, engaging passenger cars at a time when so many manufacturers are moving toward smaller, electrified portfolios. That alone makes it worth the attention. If you're making a YouTube video about the 2026 Chevy Impala SS 454, think in terms of storytelling beats, the emotional hook, the return of a legend, the technical intrigue, what's under the hood and how it drives, the practical reality, interior, tech, and pricing, and the cultural angle, why this matters now. Use driving footage to show weight and momentum, cabin shots to convey comfort and tech, and a finale that lets the exhaust note linger while you recap who this car is for. The enthusiast who wants muscle with civility, the nostalgic buyer who wants a modern echo of the past, and the curious viewer who simply loves a well-executed automotive story. The Impala SS 454 isn't just a car, it's a chance to celebrate what American performance meant and what it can become. Note: many published images, videos and spec reports in circulation or renderings, early leaks or enthusiast projections. For the final, verified specs and pricing, wait for Chevrolet's official announcement and dealer information.